Elvis fait de son mieux pour se sentir chez lui sur le plateau.
We would usually go into the set and he would go in and sit down at the piano and start singing spirituals. This is the way that he got in the mood. This is the way he relaxed. It just took that for him to relax and to feel at home and to feel at ease with the people around him. And this is what he had to have to be himself.
Être lui-même, ça veut dire aussi s'amuser un peu quand on n'a rien à faire.
One day I'm going to lunch, and as I'm walking into the commissary door, coming around the corner is this tall fellow with a pompadour and sideburns and a red shirt and jeans and white bucks. And I thought, wow, this is a mighty looking fella. Had no idea who he was. Looked kind of familiar. And as we walk in together, the place is packed. And a lot of people were looking over at him. I didn't know it was because of the sideburns or they knew who he was. Make a long story short, we finished lunch. And he said, "You want to have some fun?" Why not? You know, I'm a 17-year-old kid. Why not have some fun? All the sound stages have these metal ladders bolted to the top of the sound stages. And he just heads on up. And he says, "Come on." And I follow him up to the top. He reaches in his pocket and he pulls out balloons. He's got all these balloons. So we go ahead and we fill them up and we start tossing them and then look down and people are jumping and bouncing and we're backing up and it's like two 10-year-old kids. We are laughing. He's laughing so hard he's literally rolling on the tar paper on the roof in hysterics. Then he goes ahead and he's got this big one and Pop, he lets it go and he bounces back and says, "I gotta go. I just wound up hitting my producer, Hal Wallace, on the head. I'm in trouble."
Au printemps 1957, l'horaire d'Elvis est chargé de concerts, de séances d'enregistrement et de tournage. Il trouve à peine le temps d'emménager à Graceland, sa nouvelle demeure, avant de rentrer à Hollywood pour son prochain film, tourné cette fois à la prestigieuse MGM.
Being in radio and television in Memphis and dreaming about Hollywood and hearing about those big sound stages and driving through the gates of MGM and all of the fantastic things you heard about in movie studios, MGM was the top of the line at that time. It was the biggest studio in Hollywood, the most famous studio in Hollywood. And as we drove through the studios that first day, I'll never forget it. We were in that limousine, and the gate guard, was a guy named Kenny Hollywood.
I got a call that there was a commotion at the Thalberg Gate at the front of MGM over in Culver City. And they said that Elvis Presley is coming in, and we're just overwhelmed with female workers who are trying to get at the car and everything else. And I said, "Well, take the kids and chase them away. You're policemen." And it's, "No, you don't understand. It's not kids. It's middle-aged and elderly women who come out of the executive building."
Le studio s'empresse d'abord de choisir des chansons parmi celles qu'Elvis a enregistrées pour son nouveau film, provisoirement intitulé Jailhouse Kid.
The producer, Pam Berman, says, "Alex, what number of the 10 you've heard has the most production value?" And I said, "Well, there's only one, Jailhouse Rock." And he said, "Oh, no, we can't use that. That goes over the titles." And I said, "The titles?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "You're wasting a great number." I said, I don't mean to be bragging, but that's a show-stopping number.
Certains croient cependant que c'est Elvis lui-même qui a fait la chorégraphie.
Watch him dance in Jailhouse Rock. You know, Elvis choreographed that routine in Jailhouse Rock. So the man was a dancer.
La chorégraphie est-elle d'Elvis ou d'Alex Romero? En vérité, un peu des deux.
When Alex Romero, who was the choreographer of Jailhouse Rock, first presented the dance sequence for Jailhouse Rock, Elvis shook his head. He said, "That's not me. I can't do that, Alex. I appreciate what you've done here." He wanted Elvis to do more of a Gene Nelson, Fred Astaire type. Elvis said, "It's not me. I'll try it." And Elvis, being the cooperative guy, he got up and tried. He said, "See, Alex, it's not me." And then that's when Alex said, "Elvis, I tell you what, let me incorporate your stage act into what I want to do, and let's see if that'll work." And he went home that night, came back the next day, and he had taken Elvis's stage act and incorporated that into a dance sequence. For Elvis said, "Hey, I can do that. That's me." And in one take, right there in the rehearsal hall at MGM, Elvis had it down. And of course, it became historic in being Elvis's best dance sequence in a motion picture.
Walking through a party in the county. county jail. The prison band was there, they began to wail. The band was jumping and the jump.
Cette séquence très innovatrice à l'époque va servir de modèle à ce qu'on appelle aujourd'hui le vidéoclip. L'enthousiasme excessif d'Elvis durant les répétitions de la chorégraphie provoque un incident qui aurait très bien pu tourner à la catastrophe.
In those days, you did musical pieces that are pure music. You do them ahead of time in pre-production. And that number, Jailhouse Rock, we did do in pre-production. And we were up on stage 27. And Elvis came over and said, Dr. What's his name, the dentist, the lot dentist, is making me a cap. And he said, he put a temporary on while it's being manufactured. I said, yeah. And he said, well, it just came off while I was swinging. And listen to me, this is just neat. And he went, and there was a whistling sound. Everybody. The damn thing was in him, it was in his lung. So they had a procedure which was a little frightening, where they put him out and then take an instrument and go and get it. So about now, Colonel Parker arrived, and if I've ever seen a man close to a coronary, it was when the doctor was saying, well, no, Colonel, there's nothing to worry about. See, we took this instrument we have, and we just spread the vocal cords, and we go between that right down, and Parker's face was ashen, and he said, but we got hold of it, and then it broke. So now we had two pieces. So we just spread it some more, and of course you could see a whole career passing by.
Cette chanson célèbre évoque un souvenir bien spécial pour une des amies d'Elvis.
I remember coming home from that movie, and it was very late at night, and there was this little drizzle out, and Jailhouse Rock came on the radio. And I remember Elvis stopped the car, got out of the car, it was on Fountain Avenue, and he danced, the whole scene he did in the movie, in the middle of the street on Fountain Avenue. And I kept thinking, if people woke up right now and looked out their windows, they'd see Elvis Presley dancing in the streets like Gene Kelly.
No, Vince, let's try it again. Vince!
Tout comme Loving You, Jailhouse Rock s'inspire de la vie réelle d'Elvis. Cette fois-ci, le personnage principal est un ancien détenu qui connaît le succès à Hollywood.
How do you like our movie star, Peggy?
He has adapted very quickly.
Well, there's not much oxygen up where he is, and the man gets lightheaded. There comes a time when you got to take a hand in things, and that time is now. Don't push me. I'm gonna beat hell out of you. Don't try it. You're talking crazy, man. You know you got it coming, son. I said don't try.
Jailhouse Rock is also the love story of this rebel.
How dare you think such cheap tactics would work with me?
Funny tactics, honey. It's just a beast in me.
Peu après le tournage, Elvis reçoit une nouvelle tragique.
We just finished completion of the shooting of Jailhouse Rock. We've been home about a week, and Elvis comes knocking on my door early in the morning. My mom says, it's Elvis, and I go to this, Elvis, what's up? He said, come on, get in the car. I said, what? So I threw on some clothes and jumped in the car. I said, what's wrong? He said, you're not going to believe what happened. I said, Elvis, what happened? He said, Judy Tyler just got killed in an automobile accident. I said, what? Judy Tyler was his co-star in Jailhouse Rock. It was her big break. This was her chance to really make a name for herself in Hollywood, you know, opposite Elvis Presley, big motion picture and everything. I said, Elvis, what happened? He said, well, she and her husband were driving home and back to where they lived, I don't know whether it's Utah or wherever, and they were in a fatal accident, and they both got killed. And I said, oh, wow. He was really upset. It was one of the times that I really saw Elvis upset, and he was really seriously down and out. And we drove around for about 3 hours. I'm not saying too much either, just driving around Memphis and driving around. And finally, we would reminisce about something that happened on the movie set with her, or tell a little story about her, or recall an incident with her in the motion picture, and we just couldn't. So this was Elvis's way of accepting it, and we drove around Memphis, as I said, for about 3 or 4 hours, and he was really depressed that she'd passed away.
Jailhouse Rock is the